Trump just pulled the plug on trade talks with Canada over a 3% digital services tax. Now remember, Canada is the U.S.'s #1 trade partner on the planet. Trump called it a blatant attack on U.S. tech giants, and now steel tariffs could follow. Here's what's at stake for you and your community. Trump halts Canada trade talks over a digital tax in 2025, and today we are explaining what on earth is going on with our neighbors to the north right here in the Economic Report. What is a DST anyway? Well, Canada's digital service tax targets revenue from Canadian users. So this digital services tax is 3% on all U.S. tech firms, retroactive to 2022. This applies to firms earning over $800 million and $14 million from Canada. Now think about that for a minute. Going back, retroactive taxes? Are you kidding me? Canada and Carney, that is a low blow against the United States. So what does Canada hope to gain by this digital service tax? Well, Canada is hoping to gain $7 billion over the next 5 years in retroactive and current taxes. That's nuts. So what does Canada hope to gain from this? Canada is trying to raise $7 billion over 5 years. U.S. firms face either a $500 million to $2 billion tax, and that's kind of crazy if you think about it. Those mean extra costs that are being taken off the top of those U.S. firms back here in the United States. So as soon as Canada decided to come down with this tax on U.S. technology firms, Trump pulled the plug on all trade negotiations with Canada, halted trade immediately, engagements, and he threatens to impose new tariffs within a week. Trump is not playing around, and he's pretty irate and believes that Canada is being obnoxious and unfair, and he is going to step in on behalf of U.S. companies, which you would expect the President of the United States to. Now, analysts say it may be a negotiation tactic, but let's face it, these economic ties with Canada run super, super deep. Instead of dialing back the rhetoric, Prime Minister Mark Carney responded to 50% tariffs on steels over quota. That, too, is an obnoxious move from Canada, once again, our #1 trade partner. Carney also emphasizes a dialogue in Canada's best interests in this showdown with the United States. I'm not sure how this is going to land, but folks, leave a comment below because your comments, your thoughts really do matter here. And I know I have an audience throughout the Anglosphere, the United States, Canada. I need to hear from you because is Trump way out of line here? I know his rhetoric's been out of line in the past, but is Canada being unfair to the United States with this crazy tax they're trying to throw on digital services? I don't know. Please help me understand what we don't understand. What is the community impact of this? This is really kind of a big deal. Once again, our largest trade partner to the north, the longest demilitarized border in the planet, and now we have Trump and Mark Carney fussing with each other over taxes, trying to tax U.S. firms and maybe trying to extract like that extra pound of flesh from the United States. I don't know, but retroactive taxes, that's pretty crazy, and it's really kind of outlandish if you think about it, because there really is an impact. There's a possible rise in tech and hardware prices between the United States and Canada. There's going to be additional costs like already due to DST surcharges that are already going to take effect. That too is rather crazy. But infrastructure funding from tariffs could aid struggling U.S. Canadian towns for now. Maybe your zip code can benefit from something just like this. But once again, even if your zip code benefits, the overall theme is this isn't good for relations between the United States nor Canada. By the way, if you've not hit the like or subscribe button, we would appreciate that. It does wonders for the YouTube algorithm, and with that, I can show you a picture of my squirrel that wants fed every single day. Let's continue. So what should we watch moving forward? Because this is going to be a very fluid week in trade relations between the United States and Canada. The markets, including the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, how are they going to react to this? Is it going to be a sell-off in the markets? Is it going to be extra booted confidence in Trump because he is standing up for U.S. tech companies? Does he feel as though the United States is just being treated unfairly by Canada? Or is it Mark Carney doing what he does best, which is stand up for the Canadians? Is the Euro-style trade negotiations really going to cut it with the United States, or is Trump about to take Mark Carney out to the woodshed? Stocks jumped on trade freeze news, then they kind of cooled down a little bit, so we really do want to pay attention because this will affect Main Street's wallet in one way or another. Trump has given Canada about 8 days to respond to this. He had pulled the plug on trade negotiations, and the question is, how will Canada respond? Is Trump actually putting more pressure on Mark Carney right now? Are the tech companies really putting pressure on Mark Carney right now? Or maybe, just maybe, there's going to be a backroom deal made, Trump style, which will save face for Mark Carney and Donald Trump at the same time. Bottom line is, the United States tech companies are going to step up and expect the president's loyalty on this one. I want to remind you folks watching that this isn't just about politics. This really is about economics. And of course, economics face Wall Street, they face DC, and let's face it, they also hit Main Street in a very major way. This could affect your zip code in a very positive, a very negative way, but my point is, the economic report is here for you. We are trying to supply you with the best information and, of course, reading between the lines, the major stories. And, folks, if I can remind you, the biggest battle we fight every single day is the one between our ears over your thoughts, your actions, and your attitude. Stay healthy, because that is the one thing that affects every other aspect of your life. I will catch you next video. Thank you for subscribing.